believe you said that. We are getting set for the start of Moto number 1. This marks the midway point of the season. Back with the start after this. We're getting set for the start of Moto number 1 here at Redbud Track and Trail. There's Greg Albertine, the 3-time world motocross champion. Art Ekman down in the pits. David Bailey and John Kernan up here in the booth. Those are the two guys contending for the points championship this year. Of course, Jeff Emig coming off his first ever 250cc outdoor national win. That closed the gap to 11 points from McGrath. Kudrowski is sitting alone in third, but he's going to have some company from Albertine, who's only 12 points back. And John Dowd stands in 5th after the 5th round. Certainly looks like it is going to be a two-rider battle to the end. There's the gate. It drops. Moto number 1 is underway.
Looks like Jeremy McGrath gets the hole shot, followed by Emig. Those are the two riders we just highlighted for you, but LaRocco squeezes in there. A nice move by LaRocco coming in from the outside. Jeremy out in front, and I've said it a lot this season. Once he gets off to a good start, he is hard to catch, and he's already put a little bit of space between himself and LaRocco. You see they watered the track there, and it's really difficult to pick lines. The whole center of the track there is all muddy, and the guys are either going extreme outside or the extreme inside. And right now, McGrath leading the way. He pulled a tearaway on that big jump there, and just wanted to get a little bit clearer vision. He figures he's not going to need all those tearaways now. Looks like Kudrowski also got off to a pretty good start. I think I counted him along in about the 5th or the 6th spot. But up front, Jeremy McGrath up the hill. A nice jump. And look at Jeff Emig side by side. I guess that was with his teammate John Dowd. Looked like John Dowd, and it looked like John Dowd might have had the better line going to the corner, but Emig still holds on to the spot. Jeff Emig moving into that 3rd spot. Of course, he's thinking points right now, and Jeremy McGrath is at the point. You don't get many more points than that. In fact, that's the limit. He could collect 25 points if he comes away with the win here in Moto number 1. Well, Jeremy just looks fantastic right now. He's hitting all the lines just right. He's wheeling over the right bumps. He looks relaxed. He's even put a little style into everything, and he's going to have to ride like that because number 1, LaRocco, the defending champion, hasn't won here in front of his hometown crowd. He battled with Kudrowski last year. They had a little bit of a heated discussion at the end of one of those motos, and you can bet he's going to be a threat here today. Well, now Emig sweeps along on the inside, tries to carry LaRocco out. He could have easily taken LaRocco out with that move, but he backed it off, allowed LaRocco to keep the position. Well, you know, in the first lap, sometimes a move like that, he could have gone down also in that same little exchange. So possibly just trying to let things sort themselves out, not make a stupid move like that. If he was to go down right here, he'd probably drop 10, 15 spots in this first lap. Oh, there's that jump. Look at that. They really fly up there, don't they? There was only a few riders last year that were able to clear all the way up over that. It's a double jump, but then there's another little rise beyond the top. So they kind of turn it into a triple, and all of them are doing it this year. Is that simply horsepower or the line and getting the right traction coming off the setup for the jump? It's pretty much all that. a little bit of nerve, and you know, the right line coming out of the corner, the right drive, and everybody seems to be hooking up good today, and they're getting the speed they need to do it. There's the green flag, 1 lap complete, and a tight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look at that, Damon Bradshaw is also in there among the top 5 as he's following John Dowd. Right, he's got the start he needs. Last week he got involved in a first lap scuffle, and it ruined his bike, and he didn't even finish the first moto. And you see Skip Norfolk pumped up and giving his rider a little incentive right there. He's got the former national champion breathing down his neck now, and I don't think he wants LaRocco to learn anything from Jeremy. He wants Jeremy to go away and hide. Well, we saw John Dowd there. What a heartbreak for him. He was in position to get the overall at Southwick, but had that problem with the shock late in Moto number 2. Take a look at the Suzuki Field summary for the top 10. We'll be back with more from Redbud after this. Nearing the midway point here, Moto number 1. There's Jeff Emig. He's gotten around LaRocco. That means he's moved into the 2nd spot. Jeremy McGrath still up front. So he's gained 2 points, or I shouldn't say gain. Now, if it stays this way, he'll only lose 3 points. Look at Damon Bradshaw battling now with his teammate John Dowd, and he moves in to that spot, which would be number 4. So I like that line. Yeah, you see he just motored around the outside. Well, when you get past on the outside, you got to pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe John Dowd will be able to learn a little bit from Damon and hopefully stay in contact with these leaders. LaRocco looking at the back of Jeff Emig. Emig is riding along the 2nd spot. Man, I'm impressed with the crowd here. It is an absolutely beautiful 4th of July weekend
up here in Michigan, and the fans have come out in droves to enjoy some great racing action.
One thing I can tell you is that it's hot, and these guys are going to pay the price. Maybe not this moto, but at the end of the second moto. There's the airtime. Look at that.
Whoa. What do you say about that? I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, we'll get to see it plenty, I'm sure. They get to rest up there. You're up in the air so long. And you notice guys pulling tearaways. That's the only time you really can do that. The rest of the time you're worried about the soil and hitting the right line and staying in the right berm. And now look at Bradshaw, who's really closed in on LaRocco and on Emig. So Bradshaw up to speed this week.
Well, LaRocco's wrist still very, very sore. Of course, after Southwick said it was very sore, and I'm sure it still is this weekend. Jeremy McGrath, look at the distance. I didn't get a clock going, but, man, he is pulled away from Jeff Emig.
Oh, I'd say that's about 5 seconds, 4 to 5 seconds. And McGrath, as he came off that jump, you heard him just run the throttle wide open in the air. When he landed, he just left a skid mark, and he's so aggressive. He didn't let off all the way through there, and that's that aggressive riding that we see. I keep alluding to the Supercross, but that's where he has so much success, and now that's starting to come to the outdoors where he's got a lot more confidence and fitness to go the distance.
Well, Jeff Emig trying to chase down Jeremy McGrath after he got around LaRocco. He is holding steady at second. Let's check into his pits.
Steve, LaRocco's little slip allowed your guy Jeff Emig to get in front, but he's still got a battle on his hands from number 1 right behind him.
Yeah, Jeremy's in his usual style, trying to get out and run away. I'm kind of hoping that Jeff and LaRocco don't battle too much to where McGrath might get away a little more, because I guess you can't really afford to let him do that. So I'm hoping Jeff can pull away from LaRocco and maybe slowly reel in Jeremy.
The support race proved that once you get it in front here, if you don't make mistakes, it's not that hard to pull away.
Yeah, the track's kind of smooth because they graded a lot of the ruts in, so seems like they're all going about the same speed right now.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. The track isn't really that rough. It'll get rougher in the second moto, and some of these tight sections, those ruts right there will get real choppy coming out, so choosing the right one will be important. But for the most part, the track is pretty wide open, and what that means basically is if there was a privateer, let's say, that it's not capable of running the pace these guys say at a track like Southwick, he could run this pace for a while. Then mistakes eventually would get the better of him because these guys don't make many. But
there's a mistake right there. Jeff Emig got a little too close to the tree, touched it with the handlebar, and just like that, LaRocco moves around into second place.
Well, I hope I didn't jinx him. Gosh, right when I said it. That's a tough section right there because the berm, early in practice when it's kind of muddy, the riders, they don't want to drift off into that off-camber, so they go real close to the tree, and that's where the berm ends up. So you brush your shoulder through there just about every lap. I know I've brushed mine there a few times. You're going to see he hit his shoulder on the tree, and luckily he had his fingers on the clutch. All the riders these days ride with their finger on the clutch all the way around the racetrack. They never take their finger off it, and right there it paid off.
Well, LaRocco has gotten around, and now we look a little bit further back. That's John Dowd is being pursued by Greg Albertine. This should be a battle for the 5th spot. Albie riding along in 6th, Dowd in 5th, trying to get it away, but Dowd gets on the gas just a little bit sooner, up over the jump. Oh, man, what great camera work. This is just amazing. I love it. Take a look at the top 10. Find your favorite rider on the Suzuki Field Summary. We'll take a break and be back with more after this. Welcome back to Buchanan, Michigan. Redbud Track and Trail. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and John Kernan. Still, that battle for 5th place continues to be a furious one. John Dowd has it, but right on his rear wheel is Greg Albertine. Oh,
look at that airtime.
Oh.
That's the most airtime I've seen in a long time on a motocross track. That looks like the kind of stuff we go out and find, in our weeks off in the sand dunes in Glamis or something.
Oh, man, that is just... I could sit there and watch nothing but clips of that all day long. That is just beautiful to watch.
Well, from the rider standpoint, it's fun, too, because that jump is pretty forgiving. If you were to land a little short, it's not like you're going to, really probably, crash or anything. There's not a big jump they have to clear over. It's just actually faster to carry that much more speed up the hill. It looks pretty neat.
Speaking of speed, it looks like Albie might be a little bit faster. Is Dowd holding him up, you think?
I think so. I think if Albertine can get around, he'll pull away, and I think Dowd knows that too, and he's just trying to do all that he can to hold him back there, and maybe...
There we go. There's the power by Albertine to the inside. A daring move. Gets alongside Dowd. Just a drag race to the corner. Albie taking the inside line, gets around, and takes over that 5th spot.
Well, that's a pretty aggressive move. I can tell you there wasn't a whole lot of room between Dowd and that fence post going into that corner. Here you're going to see it. Right here when they're side by side, that stack of tires is close, right there. Albertine just able to get into that berm, and now we'll have to see if Dowd can respond and hopefully maybe learn something from Albertine, like I said before, and possibly stay in contact with these leaders.
Back up front, Jeremy McGrath continues to lead. Then it's Mike LaRocco, followed by Jeff Emig. McGrath last year didn't have a very good time here. He finished 12th overall. And what do we got here? It looks like a couple KT. Yeah, Anthony Amaradio and
that's Jeff DeMint too at Amaradio. Throwing punches.
And there goes Jeff Curry by. Oh, this is not good. Good for the two teammates for KTM.
No, this isn't good at all.
Look at the way the bikes wound. I'm sure they threw them.
I wonder whose bike is on top.
Man.
That guy's going to win, maybe.
Oh, and throws him down. It's Amaradio on top.
You know, it looks, and there's the AMA official. Boy, this isn't the good. This what didn't happen in the woods where nobody saw. So it looked like Amaradio. I was just going to say, number 33. That's DeMint picking his bike up. He just looks like he wants to get back to the action. So I'm going to assume from Amaradio's actions towards the end of that scuffle that he was irritated with something that DeMint may have done to him. So looking to settle the score with his fists.
Well, Mike LaRocco is trying to settle down and chase down Jeremy McGrath. He is riding along in the second spot right now. Time now for this week's Suzuki Flashback. We flash back to July 3rd, 1994 on the eve of Independence Day. Some fireworks out on the track.
That was the final lap. Kudrowski been leading the whole way. LaRocco right there winning. Doesn't realize anything's wrong. Well, Kudrowski's a little bit upset with that move by LaRocco. Launches his bike into him. And hand gesture. Now LaRocco's dad comes over to get between them so it doesn't get too ugly.
Well, that was actually a carryover from Southwick.
Right. Well, Kudrowski felt like he'd been riding safe and polite against his teammate. And when LaRocco made that move on the final lap, he got upset and things got heated up.
And they heated up again early in the second moto as LaRocco takes Kudrowski down again, but Kudrowski rallied for the win in Moto 2 to take the overall. Once again, this is a battle for second place. Jeff Emig is in third. He has his sights set on LaRocco.
And while these two are battling, they've obviously picked up the pace, or Jeremy slowed one because Jeremy's down in the corner right there. He had a pretty big lead early in the race, and apparently it had checked out. But right now, these guys are close.
Well, you got to think they've either picked up the pace. Here we go with a little air time for Jeff Emig. And either they've picked up the pace or maybe Jeremy has slowed down a bit just to save himself for the second half of this moto. We are just past the halfway point. Take a look at the top 10 on our Suzuki Field Summary. Back with more action from Redbud after this. Back at Redbud Track Control, Buchanan, Michigan. That battle for second place is still the best battle on the track. Jeff Emig going for it right now to the outside. Does he have the drive coming out of that rut? No. LaRocco holds him off for the time being. Emig, David, is trying everything he can to get around him simply because of the way the points are stacking up.
Right. I'm really impressed with Emig's effort. Down the inside right here through all the mud, cuts across the line.
He just had to slow up too much, didn't he?
Well, he just went a little bit wide. He tried to guess at where LaRocco was going to come out of that corner, and as he started to point out in terms of the points, you know, like we've pointed out before, LaRocco doesn't figure into the championship title because of the races that he missed. So he is affecting the outcome of what's going on in the battle between Emig and McGrath. And if he was to finish where he is, Emig's going to drop 5 points rather than just 3 if Emig were to pass LaRocco.
You don't think Steve Butler will go over to Mike Sr. and say, how about putting a signboard out and asking LaRocco to let us get by?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think LaRocco's dad would do it. He's already dubbed Emig as an idiot. He said that last week. Said we could quote him on it. So he's nervous, probably biting his fingernails, hoping that Emig doesn't do something weird and take out his son.
Isn't that the way it is? Somebody on your team or your side says something about another rider one week, the next week you two are battling it out again side by side.
Well, it's competition, you know. That's why they got this big crowd to see this kind of war, and right now they're getting it.
There's Mike Sr. with the stopwatch, checking times, watching his son Mike Jr. try to hold off Jeff Emig. I thought Emig might have had a little bit of a problem there. That's why I paused. That's the same spot that he had the problem earlier.
Well, he lost a little bit of time, and that's going to cost him right there. I mean, these guys are all going fast, and I'm impressed to see that Emig has made this jump to the 250s and is really in a position to win this title and is a challenge for these guys. And LaRocco, we've already said, you know, plenty of times, is a lot of times one of the fastest riders on the racetrack, if not all the time. Right here catching Jeremy, and Emig is pressuring him.
Once again, you saw Jeremy going into that turn. LaRocco just a few seconds behind, where at one point I think it was over 5 seconds as far as the lead from McGrath, but they've cut into that substantially. Once again, a lot of air time, hang time. They ought to name that the Michael Jordan triple. It has so much air time.
Yeah, that'd be a good name, I guess.
You didn't like that, did you? No, I get the feeling you didn't. LaRocco is in second place. Look at the dust starting to kick up from where it's dried out, and that's got to play a little funky things with your vision.
Well, if further back you drop from the rider in front of you, the more that dust plays a role. This looks like the white flag, yeah.
Last lap, McGrath is in front now. Jeff Emig trying to pick up 2 valuable points. I don't think he's got a chance at winning the Moto, but he certainly has a shot at LaRocco to move into the second spot.
Well, in this battle, these two have definitely closed the gap even more on Jeremy. So now Jeremy, you can bet, is glancing over his shoulder.
Well, LaRocco trying to hold off Jeff Emig here on the final lap. Art Ekman is with Mike's father.
The best part of this race is between Mike LaRocco and Jeff Emig. What a dicing job.
Yeah, it is. Jeff's pushing him really hard, and Mike's going to have to smooth out a little bit. He's making a lot of mistakes. It gives Jeff an opportunity to get up there, and Jeff's trying to take it. Let's hope he don't get it.
And, of course, this point of the race, he's got lappers to deal with, too.
Yeah, they all got lappers to deal with, and it's good and bad both ways.
Well, I think for LaRocco and for Emig, it can work either way right there. Doug Boyson doing a good job getting out of the way, number 44. And I think the lappers play more of a role for McGrath, because he's the first rider to catch up to him, and possibly they hold him up a little bit until they realize, oh, he's the leader, and then they get out of the way for everybody else. These guys may have an advantage on Jeremy at this last lap.
Well, that advantage I don't think is going to help him catch. There you see Jeremy McGrath just going out of the turn that they're entering. Jeremy, I think, unless he falls or makes a really dumb mistake, is going to win this Moto. And if he can win it, that will make 5 Moto victories in 11 Motos this season, almost 50%. But this is a great battle for second place. Looks like Emmett may be holding back, trying to get one last charge. He's very careful going around the tree, taking that inside line. You notice LaRocco went to the outside of that turn. But Emig, does he have enough time? Can he catch him?
Well, he's got enough time, but I just don't think he's close enough right now.
Well, they are. They're closing in. LaRocco is closing in on McGrath. At least it looks like from that angle.
Well, they are all close. They definitely closed in on Jeremy. That's pretty surprising. Jeremy probably thought, well, I can take it a little easy in these last couple laps, and all of a sudden he's going, uh-oh, they got to get with it. And you can bet that when he crossed the finish line, he's going to glance back and pray to LaRocco finishing that number 2 spots and give him some more points.
Right now, the point differential for Moto number 1 between McGrath and Emig would be 5. If Emig can get around LaRocco in these last several hundred feet, then it would only be 3 points that McGrath would gain on him, and Emig came in trailing by 11 points.
Well, Bradshaw is still circulating in 4th that we know of, and nowhere in sight. So these guys are obviously riding in a league all by themselves.
They're very, very fast. They'll come around. Jeremy McGrath looks like he's going to do it. I think he's going to hold on there. See some fans trying to root on Jeff Emig. Checkered flag is out. Here comes Jeremy McGrath to the line. I think it was a green bike. Yes, LaRocco second, and Jeff Emig finishes 3rd. Who would have thought? Jeremy McGrath, out of 11 motos this year, has come up with 5 victories. Damon Bradshaw holds on for the 4th spot, and as we get a chance to take a look at the rest of the top 10, Art Ekman is standing by with Jeremy.